everybody, Pat Huntoon here with Technique Junkies, and today we're going to be making that Erin go Bra card that you saw at the Irish card that you saw at the beginning of the tutorial. We're using SD226, and that actually means Ireland Forever, and then S997's Shamrocks. Now, before anybody says anything, I do realize now, I've been informed that these are not shamrocks. They're actually 4-leaf clovers. Shamrocks only have 3 petals, but I'm too deep in it now to change the name. So I apologize to my Irish friends who have pointed this out, but they still mean luck. So we are still going with this way. So to start this, we're actually going to create a piece of paper. We're going to color this paper using Shimmering Bliss. I'm going to be using 3 colors. I'm going to be using Dolphin Cove, I'm going to be using Harvest Sunset, and I'm going to be using Vivid Volt. All right, so I'm going to be using those 3 colors to create a green background, and this is one I just sprayed, and I sprayed it in advance so it would dry before I did this tutorial. But you can see it's very kind of Kelly green, and it's creating my own color here. Let me show you how I did that. So whenever you use a Shimmering Bliss spray, and I'm going to start with the darkest spray, which is the Dolphin Cove, you roll it between your hands back and forth like that. You don't want to shake it because you don't want to create air bubbles, and you don't want to get the mica up into the nozzle there. So you want to roll it. And you notice I'm not spraying this into a box. I'm sorry. Let me back up for a second. I'm using a piece of mint colored cardstock. You want colored cardstock, something that's got a little green tint to it is always better. So I'm just using this mint color here. You also are going to need a complimentary piece of cardstock to stamp the sentiment on. So I'm going to spray this very close to the paper. You see how down low my hand is? In nice long even strokes. I want to get it mainly covered. The next thing I'm going to be using is the Vivid Volt, and again, I'm going to mix it by rolling it. And I'm going to spray that. And this one I'm spraying kind of not all over, here and there, leaving some empty spots there. And you can already see that those are a beautiful color. And now I'm doing Harvest Sunset. Harvest Sunset has a ton of gold in it, so it's going to add a beautiful golden hue to this whole thing. So we're going to mix that up, and then I'm just going to be putting, you know it's mixed when there's no more of this on the bottom. Mica's heavy, it falls to the bottom of these bottles, and so I'm just mixing it in there. That's why we're doing that. So this one I'm holding a little bit further up because I want to diffuse this a little bit. And because it's curved a little bit, it's running off the sides, which is nice because it gives us pretty little streaks of color here. So we're just going to set that aside to dry. Make sure you get the little strip too. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And while that's drying, through the magic of the internet, I am pulling out the piece I made before. Now you want this to be 90% at least dry. It's always best to let it dry as much as possible. And then I'm going to be putting the Shamrocks stamp into my stamp positioner. I'm adding some tape to the back of my cardstock so it doesn't lift, since the magnet will not reach on there. So putting that on the back of my cardstock so it stays in my stamp positioner. For this technique, I really, really recommend, really highly recommend that you use a stamp positioner. The reason I'm recommending that to you is because when you have something that you're stamping into mica, like we're doing here, sometimes the ink will lift some of the mica off the top of the stamp. So you are going to have to stamp this several times. So I am using Catherine Pooler Deck the Halls as my ink. I'm just going to ink this up well and stamp it a couple of times. So I'm okay, so as soon as you have both pieces stamped, then go ahead and cut them down to size. So this is just going to go on a piece of regular cardstock. So I'm just going to be cutting this down to probably 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And this is going to be a little flag along the side there. So I'm going to just cut that down accordingly. So let me cut those and come right back Okay, so once you have those cut down to size, then you're going to take your Deck the Halls again and grab a green brush or ink applicator. And you're just going to add ink around the edges just to make it look a little more colored there. Okay, so we have that nice and colored, and we have my front here, which we're not going to attach until at the end. So I'm just going to make sure I don't lose that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a glue. Now I have a dimensional glue here. I have Nouveau Crystal Glaze. You can use Tim Holtz's product. You can use Judykin's product. You can use Stampin' Up's product. But what you really want to do is get something that has a little bit more dimension than a regular glue. Although if you don't have those things, a regular glue is fine. And you need 3 colors of glitter. Now we're going to be working one color at a time. Doesn't matter which one you work. Just pick one. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to do maybe 3 or 4 of these 4-leaf clovers. And I'm going to just cover it in glue. So let me do that quick. Once you get your first color on there, then go ahead and grab a tray or a piece of scrap paper and put glitter over those areas. Now it's really important that you cover those areas completely because we're going to be adding several colors of glitter right in a row. Several colors of glitter right in a row. So we want to make sure that we put it all on there, tap it off, make sure they're covered, let it sit for a minute while you're cleaning it up. And then you're going to repeat that process, adding, I'll do the next one and then I'll turn the camera off, but do the next color. If you're like me, you have quite a few glitters in different colors. Okay, so you can see that they more or less stayed where they're supposed to stay. And now we're going to do the next color. Okay, so these are, I'm going to set this aside to dry in a minute, but I just want to show you that if you have some areas that need a little bit more definition, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking the piercer and kind of just adding some definition to it. Side to dry. And once it dries, I will add this over the top and pop it up. I don't even know if I'm going to actually back this, but I may. And then put it on a piece of white paper. So this is going to be the end result. It's pretty and shimmery, and all that shimmer has dimension, and that glitter is not going anywhere. And that's our tutorial today. I hope you enjoyed our tutorial. If you did, please give us a shout out. And consider subscribing to the Technique Junkies channel on YouTube. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching today. Bye now.